1,759. Death toll goes up to 590, while 3,051 patients have been fully cured and discharged. No new cases of coronavirus have been reported from 59 districts in the last 14 days. Six central teams visiting 4 states, 2 each to West Bengal and Maharashtra and 1 each to Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. Teams to take stock of the ground situation related to COVID-19 and report to the centre. World Health Organization warns without national unity and global solidarity, worst is yet to come in terms of COVID-19. Says many developed countries are putting wrong conclusions. Describes COVID-19 as public enemy number 1. Global cases of COVID-19 infection cross 24,78,000. Death toll crosses 1,70,000. France becomes the 4th country after the US, Italy and Spain to have recorded over 20,000 deaths. US President Donald Trump to sign an order to temporarily suspend immigration into the United States. Ending a year of political deadlock, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his centrist election rival Benny Gantz sign an agreement to form an emergency coalition government. Unity deal inked following elections in April and September 2019 and also on the 2nd of March 2020, in which neither won a governing majority in parliament. And in some other news, government says Muslims in India are prosperous and those trying to vitiate atmosphere can't be their friends. Union Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi says whenever Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks, he talks about the rights and welfare of 130 crore Indians, and if somebody cannot see this, then it is their problem. And Shivraj Singh Chauhan's cabinet in Madhya Pradesh expanded. 5 new ministers take oath of office in secrecy at Raj Bhavan. Hello and welcome. You're watching DD India and DD News with me, Munman Bhattacharya. Let's get started with our top story. The Union Health Ministry, in fact, in its latest information has said that there are a total of 18,601 confirmed COVID-19 cases in the country, out of which 14,759 cases are active, while 3,251 patients have recovered and are back home. Due to COVID-19, 590 persons have died till now. The government is making efforts to control COVID-19 cases. That's why people are being told to remain and stay in their homes to contain the spread of COVID-19. India has made great progress in the war against coronavirus, first in the area of anticipation and then in the area of control. The government has taken all measures to contain the spread of the virus. The lockdown has been one of the most effective measures in containing the spread of the virus. And the doubling rate in the country has risen to 7.5 compared to what existed prior to the lockdown, when the doubling rate was at 3.4. In fact, some states have a much better doubling rate. These states are, you can see that in a while, Kerala's doubling rate is at 72.2 days, while Odisha is at 39.8. The doubling rate in Ladakh is at 26.6 days. Uttarakhand too is at 26.6 days, followed by Assam at 25.8 days. Chandigarh has a doubling rate of 25.4 days. Himachal Pradesh's doubling rate is at 24.5 and Haryana at 21. And Goa has now been declared coronavirus free. Well, these results have been achieved by constant efforts of our doctors and government. The government has been vigilant on the issue even before the first case of coronavirus came to the fore. The centre has constituted 6 interministerial central teams, 2 each for West Bengal and Maharashtra and 1 each for Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. These teams will make on-spot assessment of situation and issue necessary directions to state authorities. They will also submit their report to the central government. The situation is especially serious in Indore, Mumbai, Pune, Jaipur, Kolkata, Howrah, Medinipur East, 24 Parganas North, Darjeeling, Kalimpong and Jalpaiguri in West Bengal. The teams will focus on complaints related to implementation of lockdown measures, supply of essential commodities, social distancing, preparedness of health infrastructure, safety of health professionals and conditions of relief camps for labor and poor people. Maharashtra has been one of the most affected states due to outbreak of coronavirus. The state government, along with the efforts of centre, will now be using rapid test kits to track the virus. Let's listen to some updates from our correspondent Yogesh Sheetal.
On COVID-19 front, Maharashtra Sarkar is all set to conduct 75,000 rapid tests as the central government has already given permission for it. The Maharashtra government has also decided to use hydrochloroquine as a precautionary measure in some areas, basically in red zone areas like Dharavi, where 11 deaths have been reported as of now. But there are some conditions imposed with it, like the medicine will not be given to those who are above 65 or below 15. So there are some conditions imposed there. Also, as majority of cases, more than 70% cases in Maharashtra which have been reported are asymptomatic, so that is also a major concern. The state has reported 4,666 cases of COVID positive cases, out of which 466 cases are newly reported, and also the state of Maharashtra has reported 232 deaths. So obviously the COVID positive cases, the rising of cases are a major concern for the state of Maharashtra as well as for the country as well. With my colleague Bhagsir, this is Yogesh Kumar Sita reporting from Maharashtra.
And it's time now for fact check. Many fake news related to COVID-19 have been going viral, and officials keep refuting the claims from time to time. Among these fake claims, one is that the central government has ordered all the ministries to close down immediately due to COVID outbreak. PIB fact check team has dismissed the claim. In a tweet, PIB fact check team said that all such claims are fake and clarifies that all ministries are open and working as per Department of Personnel and Training norms. There is no such order and the report is fake and baseless. Union Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi has said that India's Muslims, its minorities, all its sections are prosperous, and those people trying to vitiate this atmosphere of prosperity cannot be friends of Indian Muslims. He said that secularism and harmony are ethos of India. He was addressing the media.
मोदी जी हमेशा 130 करोड़ हिंदुस्तानियों के हितों की बात करते हैं। 130 करोड़ लोगों की आंखों में खुशी और उनकी जिंदगी में खुशहाली आए, इसके लिए बात करते हैं। अगर ये किसी को नहीं दिख रहा है तो ये उनकी अपनी समस्या है। हिंदुस्तान का मुसलमान, हिंदुस्तान का अल्पसंख्यक, हिंदुस्तान के समाज का सभी वर्ग खुश है और वो उस खुशहाली के साथ अपनी जिंदगी को आगे बढ़ा रहा है, और जो लोग इस तरह के माहौल को खराब करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं वो किसी भी तौर से हिंदुस्तान के मुसलमानों के दोस्त नहीं हो सकते।
The minister further said that all religious leaders, religious and social organizations have together decided and made an appeal to Muslim community to hold prayers, iftar and perform other customs at homes itself while maintaining social distancing. The holy month of Ramzan is beginning from the 24th of April.
24 अप्रैल से रमज़ान का पवित्र महीना शुरू होने जा रहा है और देश के सभी धार्मिक धर्मगुरु, उलेमा, धार्मिक संगठन, सामाजिक संगठन ने एकजुट होकर के देश निर्णय किया है और अपील की है मुस्लिम समाज से कि रमज़ान के इस पवित्र महीने में हम इबादत, इफ्तार, तरावी या और भी जो रमज़ान के महीने के हमारे धार्मिक कर्तव्य हैं उनको हम अपने घरों पर ही सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग का ध्यान रख करके उन कर्तव्यों को पूरा करें।
5 BJP leaders were sworn in today as ministers in the first expansion of the Council of Ministers in Madhya Pradesh. Among the new entrants are Tulsi Silawat, Govind Singh Rajput and former BJP ministers Narottam Mishra, Meena Singh and Kamal Patel. The 5 were sworn in by Governor Lalji Tandon at a simple function in Raj Bhavan amid the coronavirus-induced lockdown. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan was present at the ceremony. The state was without a cabinet since a month owing to the COVID-19 pandemic. Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Chauhan was sworn in as Chief Minister on the 23rd of March to head the BJP-led government in the state. And now this expansion has taken place. The Home Ministry issued guidelines for movement of stranded labour to allow workers to resume work from the 20th of April when additional economic activities began in areas not designated as containment zones. According to the guidelines, migrants staying in shelter camps have to be registered with local authorities and skill mapped for deciding suitability of works to be carried by them. Group of migrants can be transported to their respective workplaces within the state only after being screened asymptomatic of the coronavirus. However, no movement of labour has been allowed outside the state and social distancing norms must be followed while travelling and working. So those are detailed guidelines that have been issued for stranded labour. In a positive story from Kerala, Girish, a coconut tree climber in Kalavur in Alappuzha district, provides food and water to police personnel since coronavirus lockdown began. The coconut vendor travels to all police stations and checks points and serves them with fruits and bottles of soda while they are on duty. As coronavirus spread has halted life across India, several people are working tirelessly on the front line to keep citizens safe. Sanitation workers are among them. In Himachal Pradesh's Shimla, people expressed gratitude by showering flowers and honoured them with garlands. At several places, the police can be seen singing songs to make people aware of coronavirus. International news related to COVID-19 now. The World Health Organization Chief Tedros Ghebreyesus has said that coronavirus is our #1 enemy and we must step up our measures keeping this in mind. He was addressing a press conference at the agency's Geneva headquarters.
And that's why we have been urging countries, please, this virus is dangerous. This virus is public enemy #1. This virus is new and which has a behavior of serious contagion like flu. It's very contagious like flu, and at the same time it's very killer like SARS and MERS. It has a very dangerous combination, and this is happening in 100 years for the first time again, like the 1918 flu that killed up to 100 million people.
The World Health Organization chief said that partisan politics and lack of global solidarity are helping fuel the coronavirus pandemic. He said the WHO did not hide anything from the US and informed the world time to time about the severity of the virus.
There is nothing hidden from the US. Many countries were very developed, putting the wrong conclusions because they didn't know it and got into trouble. And we warned even developed countries saying this virus will even surprise developed countries. It did. We said that. It will surprise even wealthy nations. We said it is on record. Let's stop additional surprises. Let's stop tragedy.
He further said that without global solidarity, the worst of the pandemic is still ahead of us.
Then the solution we're proposing, we need national unity. Strong national unity. Everybody fighting this virus. Taking care of their citizens. Taking care of real people. We need global solidarity. That's cemented on genuine national unity. Without the two, without national unity and global solidarity, trust us, the worst is yet ahead of us. Let's prevent this tragedy.
For the first time in history, U.S. crude oil future prices have fallen below $0 in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. The price of a barrel of West Texas Intermediate, the benchmark for U.S. oil, fell as low as minus $37.63 a barrel. However, crude oil prices rebounded this morning after plunging into negative territory, staying above $1 per barrel. Demand for oil has all but dried up as lockdowns across the world have kept people inside. Refiners are processing much less crude than normal, so hundreds of millions of barrels have gushed into storage facilities worldwide. Traders have hired vessels just to anchor them and fill them with excess oil. A record 160 million barrels is sitting in tankers around the world. Oil is traded on its future price, and May futures contracts are due to expire today. Traders were keen to offload those holdings to avoid having to take delivery of the oil and incur storage costs. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has said that his administration is aiming to top up the nation's emergency crude oil stockpile as prices plunge. Trump may also consider stopping Saudi oil imports and sees price drop as short-term. For the first time in history, U.S. crude oil future prices have fallen below Jagrati Dabe.
Futures prices of West Texas Intermediate for the month of May fell to around minus $37 per barrel, its lowest level ever. This meant that companies had to pay to sell their oil. Now, economies around the world have been shutting down to try and curb the spread of the coronavirus, and this is one of the reasons why demand for oil has plummeted, which has thrown the industry into turmoil. Now, in the US, there are concerns that suppliers don't have enough space to store all the unused oil. However, some analysts say that June's trading prices, which are higher at around $21 a barrel, are a better indication of the true value of oil. Nonetheless, the historic fall in prices points to wider concerns that the deal reached by the US, Russia, Saudi Arabia and other oil-producing nations to reduce their production of oil doesn't go far enough to prevent ongoing surpluses. And furthermore, this deal comes into effect only next month. Now, the fall in prices has also affected Wall Street with wider ramifications in the fall in stocks. The S&P 500 fell by around 1.8% on Monday.
U.S. President Donald Trump said on Monday that he was working with state governors to make sure that they had the resources needed to ramp up coronavirus testing. Trump added that New York Governor Andrew Cuomo would visit the White House to discuss the response to the pandemic. At a White House briefing, Trump urged Americans to continue social distancing efforts to curb the spread of coronavirus, even as protesters across the country demanded an end to mandatory lockdowns and a quick reopening of the economy. According to the latest data by Johns Hopkins, the United States recorded 1,433 coronavirus deaths in the past 24 hours. The total number of fatalities crossed 42,000 mark in the U.S. The number of infected people in the United States stood at 7,84,326, while 72,329 people have recovered. However, in California, doctors at the University of California, San Francisco have begun testing for both COVID-19 and antibodies in residents living in the isolated northern coastal town of Bolinas. While in a positive news, the medical staff at a northern New Jersey medical center was on its feet and clapping on Monday as it marked its 800th patient checking out after recovering from coronavirus. New Jersey, the state second only to neighboring New York in the pandemic's impact, have reported more than 88,000 corona positive cases. U.S. President Donald Trump has decided to suspend immigration to the country in the wake of coronavirus crisis to protect the jobs of American citizens. He tweeted this morning, and I quote, "In light of the attack from the invisible enemy, as well as the need to protect the jobs of our great American citizens, I will be signing an executive order to temporarily suspend immigration into the United States." In light of the attack from the invisible enemy, as well as the need to protect the jobs of our great American citizens, I will be signing an executive order to temporarily suspend immigration into the United States. France has registered more than 20,000 deaths from coronavirus infections. It has become the fourth country to go beyond that threshold after Italy, Spain and the United States. The pace of increase of fatalities sped up again after several days of slowing. Italy reported its first drop on Monday in the number of people currently suffering from the novel coronavirus since it recorded its first infection in February. The Civil Protection Service said that 108,237 people were either treated in hospitals or were recovering at home. Civil Protection Service Chief of Italy said that for the first time, Italy has seen a new positive development. He also said that the number of currently positive people have declined. As the number of coronavirus cases soar in the United Kingdom, Finance Minister Rishi Sunak announced that there are no immediate prospects of lifting the lockdown measures despite a continuing downward trend in deaths and hospitalizations related to the virus. Speaking at a media briefing in London, Sunak also added that they are working tirelessly to ensure that doctors and nurses are provided with adequate protective equipment and also hailed financial measures taken by government to provide relief in this critical time. UK has so far recorded 1,25,856 number of coronavirus cases with 16,550 deaths. However, its last daily rise of 449 is the lowest since early April. While Prince Charles opened a new field hospital in Cardiff erected to provide thousands of extra beds for patients with coronavirus. He inaugurated the hospital by video link from his home in Scotland. Spain said 399 people died of COVID-19 over the past 24 hours, whereas on Sunday, Spain reported a total of 410 deaths from coronavirus. According to the latest data, the country has reached to 2,210,000 confirmed cases. Spain has the second most cases in the world after the United States. That's it then in this edition of the news. Up next is Doctors Speak, in which you can call us and ask your questions. We'll keep flashing the numbers for you. You can also ask questions on our Facebook Live page as well as on our DD News Twitter handle. Do post your questions. We'll get them all answered by medical experts in the studio. Stay tuned for that.